Started today. We're going to have to be a little creative because of the way this room is set up. I wasn't quite prepared for the long sections. Last time we had tables. But my name is Lindsey Payne, and I run service learning programs and initiatives on campus broadly. So I spend most of my time connecting faculty and community partners around issues. So I'm here to kind of talk about community interactions today. So you heard from Jenny Bay, who is in the English department, and she talked about preventing failures and kind of the top 10 reasons that projects fail. And then before that, you guys had a session on reflection and how to kind of self-assess and check your own biases and stereotypes before you come into projects. I also teach in the environmental and ecological engineering department and teach my own service learning courses around stormwater management. So I've been in this space for a long time, and I'm here to help you and kind of make these projects more successful. So before we get started today, though, I kind of want to know a little bit about who you guys are and what projects you're working on. So if we can really quickly sort of go through the room, and we'll start in the very back corner. Just tell me your first name and what project you're working on with EPICS, and we'll just kind of snake through the room.
I'm Ben. I'm on the zoo team.
Okay.
I'm Lucas. I'm on the imagination team.
Okay.
I'm Pratik. I'm on the air sandbox team.
The what team?
Air sandbox.
Air Sandbox. Okay.
Lucas. I'm on DCS.
Okay.
I'm Juliana. I'm the urban farms.
All right.
My name's Anna. I'm on the English department.
Okay.
I'm Mike. I'm on the Delphi Elementary School.
The Delphi what?
Delphi Elementary School. DCS.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Tyler on the zoo team.
Zoo team.
I'm Mike. I'm on the meditation station.
Okay.
Jake. I'm in the Wabash Center.
Okay.
I'm Eric. I'm on the GDEC team.
Okay.
I'm Justin. I'm on the pharmacy team.
Okay.
I'm Devin. I'm also on the Wolf team.
I'm Sarah. I'm on the vets team. I'm Ziri. I'm on Camp Riley.
Okay.
I'm Lisa. I'm on CES.
I'm Matt. I'm on the vets team.
Okay. Okay.
I'm also on the district team.
Okay.
Jack. I'm on neighborhood sustainability.
I'm Brian. I'm also on neighborhood sustainability.
Is that with West Lafayette? Yes.
Lafayette.
Lafayette.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm Yield. I'm on DCS team.
Okay.
I'm Emily. I'm on ISPDI.
Okay.
I'm Justin. I'm on the apps team.
All right.
I'm Bethany. I'm on neighborhood sustainability.
Okay.
I'm Troy. I'm on the urban farming team.
Okay.
I'm Ethan with Engineers Without Borders.
Okay.
I'm Lila. I'm on the environmental improvement initiative.
Okay.
I'm Chandana. I'm in water resource management.
Okay.
I'm Isha. I'm in assistive technology.
Okay.
I'm Monica. I'm on the pharmacy team. Addie. I'm on Camp Riley.
Okay.
Aaron. I'm on BME team.
Okay.
Kevin, Water Resource Management.
Okay.
I'm Daniel. I'm in Scouts BSA.
Okay.
I'm Mark, and I'm on the Assistive Technology team.
Okay.
I'm Jackson. I'm also on the assistant tech.
Okay, so there's a wide variety of teams that we have. How many of you are in your first year working on your project? Raise your hands. Okay, how many of you have worked on it for more than a year? So this is your second time around. So we have a few people returning to the projects. Okay, all right. So first question that I want to ask you guys, so get out your smartphones, computers, whatever you have here, and if you could answer this Hotseat Poll, you'll just have to type in that little long words. But if you have a phone, a computer, something like that, if you don't, it's okay, but you all have phones, right? Answer this poll real quickly. You guys get it? Anybody need a few more minutes? Okay. So I want to show you guys what everybody said about these questions. All right, whoops, wrong computer, sorry. Go back to the PC. Okay, so why is it not showing you that? I'm sorry. Come on, laptop. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Why is it not showing this? Okay, how about that? There we go. So, how many times have you interacted so far with your community partners? So looking at this, are you surprised by any of these numbers? We are, what, halfway through the semester? Any thoughts, comments on what you're seeing so far up there? You guys got to talk to me a little bit. No comments? This is going to be a really boring session if I don't get any comments from you guys. What do you think about that? Are you surprised that there are a few of you that have interacted with him so many times, there's too many to count. Some of you not hardly at all, it looks like. What's going on with that end? Anybody want to offer some thoughts? Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the people that answer that talk a lot of time, maybe they're the liaison of the group or something like that, or there's not a lot of the team members interact with the partners a lot, and there's a lot of people in the middle, like the amount of things like once a week, I think interact that enough.
Okay. Yeah. Do you feel like that's about right? About once a week interaction with your community partner seems to be about what you need? Yes? Okay. All right. What was the next question here then? Let's scroll down, see if I can get it to work. Probably not. I love that I now have a dual screen. This is really not helpful for me at all. All right. So in what ways have you interacted with your community partners? So it looks like the majority of you have been out to the site, right? I feel like that's probably the number one thing you should do with these projects is to get out to your site. Now, in some cases, that's probably not possible, right? Because you're working in places that are not right here in Lafayette, West Lafayette. How many of you are working outside of this region, and so getting there is very difficult? Quite a few of you. Where are your teams? I can't remember.
I'm on the pharmacy team, but my partner is in Mexico.
Oh, in Mexico. So that you can't go there very frequently. Fair enough. Okay, all right. And not Mexico, Indiana, I assume. This is Mexico, Mexico. Okay, yes. Down in Indianapolis. Okay, so not easy to get to. In Bolivia. Okay, so also very difficult to get there, right? Yes. Okay. So, but a lot of you are able to get out to your site, which is good. A lot of you are emailing and you're having phone calls. Any other types of interactions that you've had that aren't up there? Or did we cover all of them in those choices? No? That's it? Any other thoughts on these interactions? Have the site visits been very valuable to you? Yes. What makes them valuable? Why would a site visit be useful versus an email or a phone call? Yeah.
For some projects, that's where whatever you're making or doing is going to go, and that's where it affects. So you can kind of see how it will affect the area.
Right. So you're actually learning about geographically what's going on in that space. Why else is that effective? These on-site interactions. Yeah.
Meeting with the people who are going to use the product.
Yeah, you're meeting with the people, right? The actual people that are part of this project. And that's something that I think you're all probably learning is really important as you work through these projects. You actually need to get out there and interact with the people, right? Anybody not able to do that, aside from the ones that obviously are in other countries, but are you having barriers, issues, and challenges to interacting with the people? And if so, what are they? You're all really successful, no barriers? Come on, I don't believe that. I know, I've worked with a lot of these partners. I know there's challenges. No challenges? Yes.
Last semester I was in a different team and we worked with people from India, so also the time zone and all the holidays that were different. It was really complicated for us to manage from time even to do video chats.
Okay, so just that is a big barrier, right? Having those time differences and the country differences. How about any local challenges of getting to the sites and interacting with people? Yeah. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Our projects with Imagination Station,
Okay.
they're mostly volunteer run.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have normal day jobs and they can only meet at 6:30 or something like that.
Right.
So it's hard to get the whole team there.
Which doesn't always work with your schedules. Yes, okay. Any other challenges that people are having on the sites, getting into their partners? Do you have any challenges getting emails and phone calls returned in general? Yes, okay, I got a head nod. Why? What do you think's going on?
Well, our project's new this semester, or as of last semester.
Okay.
And the facility where they work, they only have a few computer stations that actually have internet. Their facilities are kind of outdated, and so
Okay.
our main project partner that we speak to, she could only respond to our emails when she was at her house, and then all of our emails went to her spam.
And so now moving forward, do you have a new plan in place rather than emails since that's not working?
She responds to our emails.
Okay. Because maybe the phone would work better in that case, right? If she doesn't, they don't have that. But that's an interesting challenge that not everybody has the technology that we always take for granted, right? Okay. So I was just kind of curious to see where you guys were in your projects in terms of communicating. So now I want to have you guys, and I'm really sorry, I don't know why I have these dual screen things going on here, but this is not helping my case today. I promise I will get this pulled over soon. Come on, little mouse, come back. If anybody's more computer savvy than me, feel free to come up and fix this problem. All right. Where's my mouse? Okay. So what I want us to do now is to go over some scenarios. And these are real world examples of interacting with the community. And what I'd like you to do in groups is to read through the scenario and come up with a solution to these challenges. What might you do? And then I want us to kind of talk about best strategies and practices for dealing with these communication issues. Because if we can't communicate effectively with our partners, we're probably not going to have successful projects, right? So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to divide you up a little interestingly. So what we're going to say, from here over, so these first three rows, I'm going to have you two split up. I know you're on the same team, but that's okay because it'll add good diversity. And I'm going to have you guys all work on scenario 3 here. So we'll have one person in charge. I want you guys to work on the scenario and have someone in charge of writing down your response and what you're going to do because we're going to have you guys share out. I'm going to have you guys, so it's from you on over here, work on scenario 2. And then in the back of the room, what I'm going to do is have, okay, yellow shirt, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. I'm going to have you work with this side, and then everybody else on that side work on scenario 1. So that group scenario 1, and you guys are working on scenario 1, okay? So take about 5-10 minutes, read through the scenario, come up with a plan of attack. What are you going to do as a team? So assuming you are now a team to address this issue, all right? Don't yell at your team. Sometimes it's effective, but probably not always, right? So turn around, get to know each other, interact, form relationships, move around. That's all right. You guys can move around. We've got space here.
said that they should have had other work that they could do.
Are you guys working on scenario one back there? Together? Talking? Getting to know each other a little bit?
Or they could have like the project liaisons not
Or you could like email off or set up a meeting or something. Yeah.
So you guys have scenario one figured out? You wrote down some notes and suggestions? Okay. You guys have suggestions written down, what you're going to do? Write it down, write it down. You're going to share it out with everyone. You want to be good and organized, right?
So I would probably respond to that. What is the best time to go about contacting clients?
You guys got it all figured out? Maybe. All right, you guys ready to share out? Okay, so the first scenario, you're a team leader on a community engagement project. You arrange a site visit with a partner to learn more about their needs. However, you've been sick on one of the days you visit. You forget to show up. You later find out no one else on your team showed up. What do you do? Has this happened to anyone? Out of curiosity? Yeah, I see a yes. This did happen? Is that a yes or no? Yes? No? You in the Purdue shirt? I thought you said yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did happen? Can you tell me about it?
We
Yeah.
had a meeting once. And,
Oh.
I think I slept through it and no one else went.
And no one else? Okay. All right. So I won't ask you what you guys did. I'm going to ask these teams what they would do. So what would you guys do? Let's start in the back corner. What would you guys do about this?
The first step is to immediately contact your project partner, like as soon as you realize the meeting's been missed.
Okay.
Get on the phone.
Okay. Why phone?
Because that's the quickest and the most personal.
Okay.
Getting out to the site would be kind of hard. You don't know if they're going to be there.
Sure.
And an email is kind of impersonal.
Okay.
The next thing is to find out why the rest of your team member didn't go, so you can like address those problems later. And then try to make a new visit with your partner if they're still willing to.
Okay.
And then after that, you just start making fail safes, kind of for getting everything to the next meeting. Like make sure that there's carpool so that everybody has a ride.
Okay.
Maybe start setting phone reminders if Lydia's a total pathetic shit or something.
Okay. Okay. Those are good suggestions. How about you guys? What did you suggest?
We kind of had it like along the same lines, but we started with finding out why nobody went first.
Okay.
Not like really making excuses, just being like, sorry, like we messed up, there's miscommunication, like can you please try to reschedule?
Okay. Okay.
Like not focusing too much on why didn't everyone show up, like telling your partner because it might be a legit reason for you, but
Sure.
your partner's like, no, my project is more important than your exam or something.
Right.
Just focusing on apologizing, like trying to make it up for it, and
Yes.
not so saying, oh, we had this and that, we have a legit reason for like missing that.
Right.
But showing that you're not exactly committed, so not focusing too much on that, and also not turning on your team. 'Cause, like you got sick, you can't like just like everyone else had to do that, which it was also your responsibility.
Right. Right. That's really good advice, right? Because no matter what excuse you use, what happens if you say that to someone, you're basically saying that what your problem is or what you're internalizing, what you're experiencing is more important than them. Bottom line. No matter how serious it was. I was in the ER. I couldn't breathe. Doesn't matter. You're still saying that's more important than the meeting with a community partner, and it still is kind of crappy, right? So that's really good advice to just say you're sorry, apologize, and try and reschedule. Did you guys do something similar? Or what did you end up doing? Yeah. Yeah, so you said you're sorry. How did the partner react? Were they?
They were
Yeah, yeah. And then they came around. Did you have to grovel a lot to?
I mean, we haven't met since then, so. This happened last week. So.
Oh, this happened last week. Oh, so this is a new one, right? Okay, so you sent your apology.
Yeah.
Did you email or call?
The liaison did, yeah.
Okay.
She emailed them.
She emailed, okay. And you have a new meeting set? Okay, so how are you going to go into that meeting? This is great. We're going to help you right now. We're going to make this better. How are you guys going to go into that meeting? You're not going.
I'll be in class during the meeting.
Okay, so what is your group planning to do then? Oh boy. So we got a communication problem with your group, right? So,
Yeah, there's definitely some issues.
so my advice, I think like you said in the back, is to kind of sit down with your group first, right? So if you guys can get together, figure out what's going on, and develop those fail-safes so that if this happens again, whether you all like each other or not, you still got to work together, right? Okay, all right. So we're going to be okay moving forward, we hope. Okay. How about, let's do scenario 2 then. Let's see if this happened to anyone in the room too, because this is not so great. Your teammate sends the following email to your instructor. What would you do? It says, hi there. As of today, we've heard nothing back from Mike, which is the community person liaison, about the information he said he would get for us. He replied to my email, but only told me that they were more than welcome to interview clients. He then emailed another group member about the photo release, but he completely ignored my question about contacting the clients. One question is this: because we cannot do anything further, do we need to come to class tomorrow? My teammate and I were talking after class today, and we cannot do anything until we get in contact with the clients. To us, it seems a little pointless to go to class and sit there with nothing to do while other people are working on their information and projects. Oh boy. Scenario 2, what would you guys do? Yeah.
You started off with saying that you shouldn't try to get out of class. There's always something you could probably do. Your project liaison did suggest that you could still like interview with the client.
Mhm.
So that's something you can still do. Just try to get their contact information and try to get with the clients. That's something you could do even during class.
Sure.
So getting out of class it's not really something you should be trying to do. Even if you can't work on anything for your part of the project, you can always help other groups in the team too. So.
Right, right. Other thoughts on that? It's never a good lead to say, should I come to class? Am I going to be missing anything important today? I love those emails that I get from students. It's like, so you're telling me that nothing in class is important? Oh, don't ever send that to a professor. Don't ever do that. It's a really bad idea. So you always should have something to work on. How many of you sit down as a team and kind of come up with your plan for what you're going to do in your project? Yeah, you've all done that? So theoretically, there should always be something you could work on in class, right? Yes. What would you do with communication in this team? Clearly there's some problems, right? We've got some individuals emailing their instructors and some that they're sort of telling on in a sense. How would you handle that? Because these are real world team issues. What would you guys do about the team itself? Do you guys talk about that? Yeah.
For our team, we generally have our liaison message the whole group with the email first so that we can all sort of unanimously approve it before it gets sent out.
That's a really good idea. Yeah. Do other teams do that? Yeah, I got some nodding, yes. Some no's, yes. I think that's a really good idea, good practice to just sort of make sure everyone is on board with what's being sent out. I mean, your liaison is essentially the mouthpiece of your team, right? So you want to make sure you're approving what they're saying because it's you speaking too, right? Other things you might do to kind of make the situation a little bit better? What else did you guys talk about? I mean, you said what not to do, so don't email the instructor, but what else would you do? Yeah.
We kind of said that the students like need to take responsibility, you know, like project liaison has a part in like maintaining a partner,
Mhm.
the project partner that like you still have to like accept responsibility. You can't go up to your like advisor and say like, oh, I didn't do anything at all. Like you still have you could ask the project liaison, like, hey, can I have this contact information or something like that too, something to recommend.
Okay. Have you guys experienced this? Is there anybody that's experienced this and had some trouble with it? Yeah. What did you guys do?
Well, just because our partners are in Bolivia, we can go like super period.
Yeah.
Our project partners, and it's just a lot about like we always have like backup plans. So like if we can't get this information, like this is what we're going to do for now. So
Okay.
there's always something to be doing. And especially before we were able to like actually go in the country, there was just a lot of like
Mhm.
Like trying to plan your best for what you're gonna do once you have that.
Okay, and that's really good advice. Again, that kind of goes back to planning. So always thinking holistically about what you need to do for your project and have that list ready. So if you have those moments in class where there's nothing perceived to do, right? You have something you actually can do and be working on for the project, okay? So it's really important to think about that. I mean, at the end of the day, this is your best practice of being a working professional, right? Before you're actually a working professional. So you want to make sure that you're always doing something in your jobs, in your future jobs. All right, how about the last scenario? So scenario 3. All right, your team is tutoring an after-school program for at-risk youth so you can develop plans for new tutoring software. You hear from another student that the community partner is upset because your team has been wearing offensive phrasing on t-shirts. How do you respond? Via email, conversation, what do you say? Scenario 3, what do you guys do?
So we basically said you want to set up a face-to-face apology, either
Okay.
that or over phone call. So first you got to email them because you can't just call them out of the blue. Also, we said address the team, inform them what's going on, and come up with a plan to give to the project partner.
Okay.
So you can basically tell them, like, here's what we're going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again. And also, it seemed like they have an issue with the project partner liaison, because why wouldn't they just let them know?
Yeah.
So try and figure that out as well.
Yeah, so how might you address that? So obviously you're sort of hearing this, but you're not hearing it directly. So how might you address that then? Is that something that would come up in conversation with your community partner? What might you do about that? What might be step 1, I guess?
I think like you need to have a conversation with your community partner to set up like clear lines of communication so
Okay.
that it's not like confusing if multiple
Yeah.
people are emailing back and forth and not getting the information communicated well.
Right, because really this is almost hearsay too, so this
Yeah.
this may not even be a real thing, right? But you do want to make sure that you address it, because if it is a real thing, then it could be a problem. One of the things that I heard you guys say that you wanted to email first because you didn't want to cold call them, it's really okay to call first. That's not an issue, as long as you're polite and you don't start into the issue right away. But you know, it's the day that you want to have a conversation, this has been brought to your attention, you just want to make sure that you're addressing it. Could we have a face-to-face meeting and talk about it further? That's fine. A lot of community partners operate much better on the phone than they do over email, just because that's their mode of communication. That's what they're used to. So that's okay. Other thoughts on this? Has anybody experienced this kind of scenario? These are all real scenarios that have happened, so I put them all up there for that reason. Anybody had that experience? And I think we have to think about too, what may not be offensive to us might be offensive to, let's say, an at-risk elementary school student too. So we may not have a problem with the t-shirt, but it might be an issue for a younger audience. So it's something you have to think about as you're going through your projects, right? Okay, so I thought I would kind of leave you with a few tips that we sort of came up with as a group when we were thinking about these interactions. And I think these are all common sense, but I think we sometimes forget to do these things. And the first one is to practice humility. So that's where, for example, if you say something wrong or you get sick and you don't show up and your whole team doesn't show up, you have to just kind of, yes, it may be a great excuse that you have, but you have to kind of swallow that pride and just really humbly apologize and do it over and over again, because at the end of the day, they're your clients, right? You are there to serve them, okay? So it's really important that you have humility. If you don't understand something, you need to ask questions, right? Don't just let weeks go by without communicating with these partners. They're here, they're participating because they want to be involved, right? They're signed up for these projects because they want to engage with students. So